Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. It's a true thing. My name is Sidney from Sydney. I didn't make it up, but it's fantastic to be talking to you all today. So yes, as Nino introduced me, I'm the CEO of Saasyan. We're an AI-powered student safety and wellbeing company. Actually, I'm sort of like 100 days into my role, or just a bit over 100 days here at Saasyan. I've been an advisor to the company for a number of years. I was actually coaching their founder for many years when this idea started, and I was running my businesses. I was doing some coaching of other founders, and so I've known Greg Margosian, who's the founder now and CTO of the business, and we've now partnered to take this venture bigger and make it global. I'll talk more about the business in a second, and I'm actually going to give you a product demonstration to get an idea. But the theme of today's topic is applied AI for student safety and well-being. And why I want to focus on the application side of that and the impact of the applied AI is because, you know, given even my last few ventures were in data analytics, big data, AI, then there's a lot of talk and there's a lot of experimentation, and it's very hard to turn it into something that is applied, and often it's even harder to turn it into something that creates actual impact. And so I feel like an amazing gift that I get to lead this business today, where the impact we have literally is every day, and it's about saving lives. So imagine you're a parent and you get a phone call from the school that says, you know what, we're worried about your child because they've been searching online on how to hang themselves. And you got that call and you were, of course, in shock. And by the time your son arrived home, he'd already been to the hardware store to buy items. That's actually a story from one of our schools. And that's a true story and it's many stories like that we fortunately or unfortunately get to hear all the time around the impact of what our technology has done in helping alert and report concerning behavior. So a little bit about the mission. So highly focused on student safety and well-being. And so that means we're helping prevent cyberbullying, which we know is a very big issue today online. Self-harm and suicide, it's a growing trend among teens across the world. And threats of violence, right? Violence, terror, all these things that bring fear and really get in the way of life and get in the way of a great learning experience. But we don't want to be just the company that talks all about misery and death and all of that, because on the flip side of what we say, safety is the things that I spoke about, but on the other side is well-being. And when we talk about well-being, we're talking about good digital citizenship of students. And I'll show you how we're helping keep them on track with a positive reinforcement around good behavior. We want to help with classroom and student productivity. And finally, you know, when we talk about students, it's all about learning and the learning outcomes. And so there are effectively two sides that we are focused on as we go down this path of the impact of our applied AI. Now, as we go about this, that wasn't me, that was something else in the room, sorry. As we go about this, it's worth also talking about what are some of our design principles, right? When we think about, we're trying to provide this technology to schools to help them, you know, protect kids and make them better and great and awesome and whatever. Some of our design principles that we considered and are even considering even more as we expand the product roadmap is, number one, is we need to get actionable insights so that we're providing signal, not noise. And think about it, these are very busy teachers, school psychologists. Often the ratio of the teachers and to psychologists to the number of students they have to take care of is way off. It's disproportionate. So, you know, if we're truly going to provide a great service, we need to give them information that says, right, this student, this time frame, this incident, go have a counseling conversation. So the first priority around the well-being and psychologist is actionable insights and signal, not noise. The second priority is around the teachers who are in the class. How can we give them tools to make classroom more productive and the learning experience better? And finally, and really importantly, the school IT manager, if we're going to bring in this service, Are we creating more work for them? Are we creating more headache? Are they going to get more phone calls by the teachers and the counselors saying, give me this report and this is not working? Or are we easing the pain? And of course, the goal is to take pain away from them, reduce it. So when we think about how we go to market and the personas that we serve, we're actually serving the students, but we get to never talk to the students or interact with them. So we have to serve the people that serve the student, if you know what I mean. So look, that's some of the design principles. So let me get a little bit around as to what we're actually doing and how it works. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Alrighty, so we are a complete cloud-based offering. And the idea, and again, comes back to some of our design principles, is connect with existing technology set from the school. So we're not trying to implement anything new for the school to worry about from an integration perspective or get in the way of anything else that they may have invested in already. So if you look at this diagram here, basically what we're saying is the product is called Assure. We're assuring the safety and well-being of students. And so we connect to their next generation firewalls in the school. So more and more schools around the world are implementing security and content filtering technology, and they're going with best-in-class Palo Alto, Sophos, Fortinet, Zscaler, Cisco, and the best firewall technologies in the world. We connect with the identity management system, so we can understand which student, which teacher, what, so we can map the incident and the reporting. We also are taking in data from their Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace communication, so chat and email. And because we are very focused on the K-12 market alone, so we're not trying to do bullying in the workplace or enterprise, we're hyper-focused on children at school and serving the school with what we're doing, not even the home market. We're very hyper-focused on that market. So this, we're connecting into all the other school tools, okay? So today, Saasyan, we have 400,000 students across 600 government and non-government schools. We've got private schools, as well as some of the public schools. And in Australia, we've won a whole state where eventually we'll have 800 schools just within the one state. And we're now getting ready to do similar deals where we do enterprise-wide deals, statewide deals with governments across the state. Alrighty, so we went through a little bit about how the architecture works. If you like, we're pulling in data from all sorts of places. So the firewall, we've connected to identity management system. We're sucking in data from email and chat. And effectively, we're now applying AI to look for cyberbullying, self-harm, threats of violence and suicide, but also, how and where kids are spending time, what applications. And a bit like the Fitbit on, on your phone or on your watch, where you're trying to keep track and, use gamification for positive behavior, we're using it to help motivate kids and teachers to get more productivity and better learning outcomes. So based on your security and your profile and your permissions, this is the teacher's view or the IT's view or the well-being psychologist counselor's view. You get a quick dashboard here of everything that's going on, and this dashboard is sucked in all the data, and it's almost instant, right? So as activity is happening on the firewall, we're capturing it. So a search term is going in, a website is getting visited, a video is being watched, a communication is sent, it's almost instantaneous. So our technology sits on AWS, and we're pulling it in, and the reporting and dashboard is almost immediate, near real time. So here with the dashboard, based on your role, you can, a bit like your phone, you can customize these widgets. So if you're an IT person and you're worrying about bandwidth that's getting used, you can bring up heavy web users and look at that. Versus if you're in charge of well-being and you care about kids and their cyberbullying or whatever, some alerts are already going off here, and you can look at this data, for example. And any of the things you see on the dashboard, immediately the counselor, the teacher can drill down. So we've got Nikola Tesla. We're worried about him around self-harm. I can click through and immediately see where was the incident that was causing the problem, right? And, we see where the spike was, and we go from there, right? And we can understand that behavior. Let me just minimize that. Perfect. Alrighty, and then I'll come back to looking at some of these things, but the key point here is what you see on the dashboard, you can absolutely drill down into. Now, some of the fundamentals of how this comes together. So firstly, we've got web categories. Now, the web categories is directly connected and pulling the data off the next generation firewall that the school has set up. So that literally, this is instant gratification. We set this thing up and it works because there's no setup to do. So the minute we connect to the firewall, we're taking the syslog data and there's an API connection because we can do some read-write sort of features. And but these categories we're bringing directly off the firewall. So there's no setup for the IT administrator. If you remember, I spoke about some of our design principles. We've taken work away and we're leveraging what they already have. So the categories have come in. Now, what the school can do is to say, based on these categories, do we think this is a good cyber site for these kids to be on, and they can rate it, fair, poor, average, and so on. And secondly, do they want this category being available in the reports and the alerts? And we've also got some rules override feature, which if I have time, I'll show, but for the purpose of today's short session, I'll give it a miss. But fundamentally, the categories come in and we get to do reporting across all these different categories, right? Gaming, legal, illegal, and so on, right? And so that's the first level of data classification, let's call it. So this looks for searches, websites visited, and posts videos they would have watched. The second important element of the structure of the system is we have a words and phrases dictionary. Now, this words and phrases dictionary, again, already listed with words and phrases, comes out of the box ready for the customers. And these are the typical words and phrases that all of our other customers have used. So 400,000 kids, 600 schools, we already have some good data. And what we've just done in our most recent release is we've crowdsourced this words and phrases dictionary, which means if you're at a school and you as a teacher or a well-being counselor, psychologist, picked up that there is a particular word or a phrase or a particular language, right? So we're taking this global. You want to put words and phrases, in different languages or whatever. You're able to add it to your own dictionary here. So I can add a new word. We'll call it sword, if people are going to talk about sword, and we'll call this self-harm or terror, right? Someone's bringing a sword to school. Okay, that got added. Now, through the crowdsourced dictionary, all the other schools have the option of having switched that on and also getting the sword update or any term, update. So that's the first level of, around the words and phrases. Now, some of the AI starts to kick in. What we've got next is a fuzzy logic near-term analysis that looks for these words and says, well, is someone trying to misspell the word either purposely or accidentally? So you'll see here, this first word here, I won't say it out loud, but you can read it, is misspelled because it's used numbers along with alphabetic, a letter, right? So that's already, but we can't sit there and think about every combination of words that these kids will come up with because they're smart. They're smarter than us. So with the fuzzy logic, near-term analysis, what we're doing is we're looking for words and phrases that are close. And that way, we don't have to absolutely get every word, and we're not relying on the teachers, and we're taking work off IT administrators to keep adding to this. But that's where the next level kicks in. And then the third level, which is full-on AI, natural language processing, is where we're looking for context. Now, these words and phrases are very clear. That's matching. But where the natural language processing happens is where we're looking for context where individually words used in a communication are safe, but in the context, they are concerning. For example, one kid writing to another kid, hey, you're not funny, stop posting. If you look at all the words individually, hey, you're not funny, stop posting, they're all safe words. We don't want to put that in this dictionary because this alert system will keep giving false positives. Whereas in context, we can see that was a bullying statement and it gets picked up by the Saasyan AI engine, and then the reporting and alerts, which I'm about to show you, start to get triggered. So that's going on. Other things to show here that we've thought about that's important is, again, within the words and phrases, we've got a separate listing of classification. So things we want to help with: eating disorder, profanity, racism, sexually explicit, whatever, or anything that you as a school care about, you can easily just add a classification and immediately it appears in the reports. And of course, again, remember, signal, not noise. So what we've got here is a white listed phrases. So for example, Suicide Squad is a TV series. And so what we don't want is every time someone says, oh, I watched Suicide Squad last night, for someone to think someone's suicidal and alert goes off, right? So the school can maintain their own whitelist and they go from there. This is a 5-year-old product now, right? We've got lots of customers, whatever. And so it's got all the other things you'd expect from an enterprise grade product. So full on, audit trail, action log, security setting, role-based things, everything like that. So I'm not going to bother going through all of that. Let's get into the juicy stuff, which is, right, we've got the structure. So data's coming in from the firewall. We've got data coming in from the Google or Microsoft 365. Now we're trying to help the students via the teachers and the wellbeing people. So the first thing we do is we'll look at alerts. Now, alerts are designed to intervene on, especially on things that need almost real-time attention. And because we've brought in their identity management system, we already have an understanding of classes, year, groups, everything that they've already set up. So here, based on my permission, I could be the year 9 teacher, let's say, and I want to set an alert to do with drugs. And this is a self-harm category. And this is monitoring now for me. Between midnight and 11:59 p.m., I can decide if I want to get immediately notified or no, just tell me at the end of the day, all the things that happen. Don't send me one alert at a time. And that's it. Now, next level of intelligence that we're kicking in line with our design principles, right? Signal, not noise, is a cohort relative analysis. So what we're doing here is we're saying, okay, this, alert's going to go off because a year 9 kid was searching for drugs. But in the same time and the same period was the rest of year 9 searching for drugs, because maybe the science teacher gave them an assignment to go and search for drugs and do homework on the impact of drugs, right? And if everyone's been searching for it and using a cohort relative analysis, this alert won't go off. Or let's say a kid is on searching the suicide hotline website for a phone number to call for help, and they visited that site once. Well, that's one scenario versus were they on that site 5 times today? Okay, if that's the case, I've got a different level of concern. So we're looking for recurring behavior, and where again, or you might say, no, don't give me all of those extra analysis. Anytime there's a drug incident, I just want to know about it. So no prioritization, just give it to me. And you simply add your, year 8 drug alert, right? Year 9 drug alert, whatever it was, and you save, and that's it. And now that appears as an email that arrives anytime, the way I've set it up, whether it's real time or whether it's after the day. So that's the alerting side. And what we're doing now on the reporting side is going really deeper into this. So let's say an alert comes and we're now worried about a child and we want to start investigating. All right, let's investigate Albert Einstein for the last 90 days. And I'm now looking at everything that's happened. Okay, so what you'll see up the top, we give the school a dashboard. Does this student have, what kind of digital citizenship rating or web rating are we giving them? So it's almost like an ongoing credit score where we're helping them stay aligned to staying on good websites, not go to, pornography websites, not search for drugs, not spend time on YouTube during math class. All these things ends up improving your web rating. We can see the number of videos they've watched in this time period, number of URLs that got blocked in this time period. And here we can see in which period of class they were in and when these alerts went off, and in relation to what, right? In which application? So this was in Microsoft 365, this was in the search engine, and so on. Similarly, we can see all of the web activity. And remember, we haven't collected this data. Their firewall has collected the data, and the data is already sitting there, but no one up to now knew what to do with this or how to turn it into intelligence. We've just taken what's already there and turned it into intelligence reporting, insights, and so on. So we can see the web activity here. We also do a cohort analysis. So how much time are they spending on, search engine versus the rest of the class on search engine, and so we can understand, are they doing something out of behavior applications, rating. This is their rating, right, over time. So we can see Albert was between poor and fair. He moved to fair, he dropped to poor. Okay, it's starting to improve. And we've already got schools that download this data and they correlate it to the actual school academic results and the results over time. And then they use this for conversations from coaching, counseling, improving, and so on. And we've already had, because they've used this to explain to parents how their kids are getting impacted by technology, we've now got schools saying the parents want to get this report also sent to them. So it's added additional use cases. We've got full search. We can see what they've searched for, the videos they've watched. And what's very cool about the way we do it is we can actually understand the video title. And again, what we're applying our dictionary into the video title. So is there reference to anything harmful that's in the dictionary, for example? And we give you a link to go ahead and open up that video and see what it's all about. So again, improving the algorithm to improve the false positives. Okay, this is a cartoon. I'm relaxed about that. That's okay. And finally, the alerts that went off for this person. So you can see what got blocked. So they were searching XXX, cocaine facts. How long do you get imprisoned if you were caught for cocaine? So they did a search, the dictionary went off, and the alert went off, and so on. And with all these reports, you can, export them, PDF them, or more interestingly, save them and turn them into, let's say Albert. We're going to run Albert's report. And what we're doing is we turn this into a scheduled report. And this is where we're saying, for example, the parent wants to get an update weekly of what's going on, right? So the school can easily provide this, or they can provide it for their well-being people or their teachers and things like that. So look, that gives you a bit of an end-to-end. So you saw how, from an architecture perspective, we've connected to all the sources of data already in the school. We're now giving them a dashboard and then applying various levels of analytics, AI, alerting, reporting in line to improve, protect harmful behavior and certainly to improve positive behavior. And we're on a big mission here. And so very exciting to be driving this mission, and we go from there. So look, I think I'm right on my original time. I know we started a bit later, but I'm happy to take some questions if you like. I'm not sure what the protocol here is. Nino, I'm in your hands.
Yes,